Hello, tech friends, and thank you for tuning in to Emerging Technologies in Business, where we take a deep dive into different technologies that are impacting businesses today and in the very near future. I'm your host, Brock Riney, and this podcast is brought to you by Kincannon XR. Let's talk tech. Hello, tech friends. Welcome to another episode of Emerging Technologies in Business. Today, I wanted to talk about the evolution of AR, specifically touching on augmented reality contact lenses, which have been prototyped by a company that's called Mojo Vision. And as someone who wears contacts on a daily basis, I'm really more than excited to learn the capabilities as they continue to evolve. So Mojo Vision refers to the AR contact lenses as a prototype and not as a product as of yet. And really what they're going to do is they'll be utilizing the next year to help them understand how to build smart contact lenses with all of the elements combined. And when you take a quick step back, right, to think of all of the software developments that go into something as tiny as a small little contact lens, it's pretty mind-blowing. While the new Mojo lens prototype is going to accelerate the development of invisible computing and provide the next generation of computing experience where info is going to be available whenever it's needed at all times. But I really think that the multitasking capability is going to be one of the most important factors into these contact lenses. And the reasoning why is that it keeps your eyes up rather than becoming distracted or looking down at a screen in any capacity. And Mojo actually believes that their contacts with invisible computing has uses in the performance athlete space and has actually formed a few strategic partnerships with some of the main fitness and sports brands already, one of them being Adidas Running. So what they're going to be doing is collaborating on experiences while utilizing the Mojo Vision contacts. And this becomes really important because these AR contacts will give these end athletes a competitive edge. It allows them to stay focused on their training and their workouts so that they receive maximum performance without any additional distraction, which some of the wearables that we have in the market can be today, especially when you're performing a maximized performance workout. But the initial target market is going to really be for people who have low vision. This is going to be a medically approved device, so it can help the partially blind see things better, such as road signs when they're driving. To be fair, this isn't also the first iteration of the AR contact lens by Mojo either. Back in 2019, they demonstrated the initial prototype, which was still utilizing the all-green monochrome color for the imagery that it displayed. But now, with the additional capabilities and progressions such as internet connectivity and others, they've been added since that time frame. And the contacts itself, just so everyone knows, it's actually based on a special rigid gas permeable plastic. So it's not the normal contact lens. And the reason for that is that the normal contact lens that we're utilizing today just isn't suitable for the various pieces of computer hardware that need to be embedded in the device. So the end result is that the Mojo contact lens ends up being hard and currently can't be bent without breaking. So the lens will feature sensors as well as motion sensing, accelerometer, gyroscopes, magnometer, and even a radio for communication. So when they did their demo, the application attendees were able to peer through a pair of faux lenses that displayed what the end user would see as if they were looking through the contact lenses themselves. And so the user sees the green interface that's overlaid onto the real world, and they use the green color currently because it's by far the most power efficient. But with this being one of the first iterations of the lens, I'm sure that a full color display should be available on the second or even third generation of the product. Right now, the monochrome lens displays 14,000 pixels per inch, but as the color display comes to fruition, it'll end up being denser, but then more than the monochrome one's going to be right now. Really, more than anything, it's interesting as when looking through the lens to select something, you stare at it as if it's an eye form of like a double click on your mouse. So you'll stare at it until it double clicks and then it will select that item. We see that a lot in the VR realm right now as well. So How these or lenses are going to be used and the further advancements they're really kind of left up to our imagination right now. But imagine going to a restaurant on a date and having a virtual food and wine menu pop up on your lens, because the geolocating functionality would be able to determine that you're inside of the restaurant. And when you sit down and look across at your dinner companion, you might be able to see what their interests are, their pets, what allergies they have, and more than that. Mojo Vision just announced at CES that they've received an additional round of funding at $45 million to further explore the use of AR lenses with sports athletes. So, with that being said, I wanted to include something new this week. It's a new segment that I'm going to call "Is This Really Necessary?" So, for this one, as someone who wears contacts, I genuinely couldn't imagine trying to put even the thinnest layer of this product in my eye until some sort of softer and more pliable solution has been created. Then, of course, comes the question of how will fluid from the eye affect the lens long term? What happens if it gets scratched? Not only to mention that the coloring is only currently in green monochrome. So that also begs another question of how does that work for people who have color blindness? I'm colorblind myself. I'm a strong pro-tan in the realm of colorblind. And while I tend to see greens relatively well, what I've understood is that I typically see a more muted version of most colors than others who don't have any sort of color blindness. So for me, I would say this is one where I'll be waiting until the next iteration, and even perhaps the iteration after that, once it's more flexible and color display options are readily available for mass consumption and adoption. So that's really it for today. I really hope you enjoyed our episode on augmented reality contacts. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button, comment your thoughts on this video, and of course, subscribe to our channel. I want to thank Kincannon XR for hosting our podcast. And if you want to reach out to us on social media, you can find us at Kincannon XR or at ETIB Podcast. That's it for today. We're going to talk some more emerging tech next time. Have a great day.